be also taking pictures if that's okay. And if it's not, just let me know. All right. As I just mentioned to the judges, what we do once we get the videotape, there's somebody in library services that will take the tape and break it into individual presentations. So you'll have your own presentation for your portfolio as an example of your innovation work. Okay. So we'll be just giving a minute. I think we're waiting for Zach.
Also, look at me. I'll be holding fingers up at times and stuff. So I'll do like 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute. The second I put my hand up, like, I mean, you don't have to stop, but like,
wrapping
up. Okay.
Okay. All right. We're waiting for Zach to get his. Okay. All right. Well, in the meantime, I'll. Here he is. Okay. We got everybody. All right. So welcome everyone back into Thaler Auditorium. This is the first time we're doing this in Thaler since the IDC was built. So I commend each of you for giving up your time on a Friday night and Saturday in November when the weather is nice to participate in something that is new and different for most of you and a little bit outside of your comfort zone perhaps. But I am appreciative of you learning the innovation process, and I'm hoping that by the conclusion of today, the process, you've experienced enough of the process to be interested and inspired by it, and two, be able to apply it to other ideas. So this brings us to the end portion of our UImagine Fest program, where you'll be presenting to 3 outside experts that have also been kind enough to give up a Saturday afternoon in November, when Penn State is playing right now, to spend some time listening to you and to encourage you to continue along your entrepreneurial journey. And with that, I'm just going to take a minute and ask each of them to stand up, introduce themselves, give you a brief introduction about what they do, and from there, then we'll get started. My method is pretty easy. Accounting, first in, first out. So the first in on the email, and we'll go from there. All right. So with that, Rob, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Rob Resneski. I actually went here. I graduated in '91. I'm a statistic. I met my wife here as well. Currently I'm responsible for our solution and product area at a company called SEI. It's over in Oaks. It's a strange looking campus off 422. We sell software and investment processing outsourcing to banks, everybody from like HSBC and US Bank down to like Pennsylvania Trust Company. So all sizes in between. So looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Hey everybody, my name is Mark Reespord. I graduated Westchester University in the early 90s. I started a company 27 years ago that provides litigation services to law firms, attorneys, court reporters. Basically, if you've seen video depositions or stenography services, or you have a big case and go in a courtroom and you see projector screens and somebody bringing up all these documents and everything, that's what we do. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys present today. Good luck.
John Nichter. I went through Sinus 97 to 01. Played football here, ran track. Looking forward to this. I own a painting franchise, residential and commercial painting. So if you've ever seen CertaPro painters in the area, that's me.
Okay, so first up, I'd like to invite Nathan Nerone up to the podium.
Hi, my name is Nathaniel Nerone, and I am a triple major in PVDT, creative writing, and pre-engineering. But more importantly, I'm a guy who loves to go outside. I love to hike, I love to sail, I love to engage with the great outdoors. But more importantly is I like to do it with the people that I love. And among the people that I love, particularly the women and people with periods, I've noticed that they all encounter one issue: menstruation. Did you know that 80% of people people with periods will suffer from menstrual cramps during their lifetime, and 2 to 3% will miss work every single month they get their period? Which doesn't sound like a lot, but think of all the women you've ever met and think that 3 out of every 100 of them are having their day ruined once a month by a perfectly natural biological process. And even if they can make it out into the world, 80% feel that their productivity or life is affected. That's not fair. And to hikers and backpackers, every single ounce counts. Someone can't be carrying 5, 6 different products just to manage their periods while they're trying to engage with nature. So when I set out to solve this problem, I started by looking at content by creators that might be climbers, that might be hikers, sailors like me. And I also looked at guides aimed at people with periods. Some were by women themselves, some were by companies, some were by National Park Services. And then I opened the conversation up to women in my life, especially those who love the great outdoors as much as I do. And you know what their solutions tend to be? They tend to involve clear Ziploc bags, a lot of plastic, a lot of mess, and they have to compromise on their comfort, health, and safety. People with periods shouldn't have to compromise on their well-being just because they happen to have periods. But there's no one product that covers all aspects of someone's menstrual needs. And plus, the women I spoke to talked about how disappointing it is to have to cancel plans. And they encounter problems outside of just the outdoors, in the office or in concerts where there aren't private bathrooms. Some even talked about how women in third world countries have less access to facilities and might have to stay home just because they have their period. No one should have to do that. So I've come up with something that I call the glow bag. It has 2 pockets as well as 2 side pockets, and one pocket is deeper than the other. I designed it to be as versatile as possible to help support people with periods who choose to use cups, discs, reusable period products like period panties or reusable pads, or disposable products. People shouldn't have to compromise on their options just because they have to be outside. So I designed it to be able to sanitize your menstrual cup if you pour boiling water in one of the packets. It'll be made of 100% silicone, so you can put boiling water in it, you can sanitize it, or you can use our textured washboard insert to wash period panties or reusable pads. It also has 2 pockets, one which you can store clean menstrual supplies and one you can use to pack out dirty supplies. There's a spout you can use to store water to wash your hands with, and there are pockets to support any other supplies you feel you need. Plus, this will be absent in our minimum viable product because it takes so much extra engineering. But in theory, you should be able to fill it with hot water and use it as a heat pack to help with cramps. I think it's wise that our first foray should be into online retail, although a future goal is to partner with companies like REI and Patagonia, whose goals of sustainability and accessibility align with ours, in hopes of reaching brick and mortar availability. In terms of manufacturing, I compared pure metrics and bulk prices for similar silicone bags, like makeup bags, and came to the conclusion that Glow Bag will probably cost around $9 to manufacture. But I spoke with women and other people with periods in my life, and I came to the conclusion that they'd be willing to pay $25, a price that I think is supportive of profit, but also accessible to everybody, because everybody should be able to go outside. I'm also hoping to use social media, outdoor, and print advertisement because, yes, people tend to ignore outdoor advertisement, but given the topic, I think it's more attention-grabbing. After all, how many of you think it's a little odd that I'm standing up here talking about periods? I'm sure it's gotten your attention. But I think also because it's such a personal topic, a lot of people with periods will feel empowered if they see a woman endorsing a product genuinely. That means influencers, people on social media. I'm also hoping to start a hashtag campaign called #GetUpAndGlow. So please, help me help women and the other people with periods get up and glow. Scan my QR code to see my Instagram and hopefully keep up with my progress. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll open it up to a couple quick questions.
I got it. My bad.
Yeah, so your cost of $9, you said?
For manufacturing.
Yeah, and sale price of $25. Obviously, there's a significant marketing cost. So do you have any idea on what your profit level would be?
Yes, I'm aiming for around maybe $10 of profit per product.
So great job, first of all.
Thank
Just a question around, so the bag is just that, it's a bag. Supplies would be, up to each person to pack in, pack out what they want. I really like the idea of having a place to pack it out as well, right? Just, so along those lines, have you thought at all about, potentially looking to co-market with, I guess, personal product companies?
Definitely. A lot of companies like Moon Cup and Nix, which they manufacture reusable period supplies, I think could be interested in a partnership. But in terms of like actually creating pre-made kits, I think it's such a personal topic, and everyone has their own preferences that it might be counterproductive cost-wise to try to have a pre-made kit.
I actually don't have any questions. I appreciate it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I did fail to mention too, for our judges, our theme is the great outdoors, cutting edge ideas that enhance the outdoor experience and promote adventure in the world around us. So that's our theme, exploring the outdoors.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jordan Spady. I'm a freshman business entrepreneurship and performing arts major.
Hi everyone, my name is Kaya Jones. I am a junior and a mathematics major.
And today we are giving you Adventure Pod. Low-income communities, and me personally growing up in a low-income community, have seen that we do not have access to nature and the health and wellness benefits that come with it. Approximately 70% of low-income communities lack access to nearby green spaces. And also, in low-income communities, they're more susceptible to things like allergies and asthma, making nature even less accessible. Adventure Pod becomes a dome, and it offers wellness activities, creative workshops, and community events like meditation, journaling, eco art, nature photography, and bringing people together through communities to give them the health and wellness benefits of nature. We cannot create nature for them. We cannot create a park where we can give them the benefits that they would have if they did have those things.
With Adventure Pod, we would have an app extension with it that helps you customize. It's a customizable app that fits your needs. So if you had allergens such as pollen, or like if you were looking for a particular activity, you would put that into the app and it would locate the closest pods near you that you can access through walking or riding a bike or something along those lines, and send you right there.
The value we are offering people is that health, wellness, and creativity can be affordable and accessible, while also offering them connection through community. Our key partners would be local governments and schools, health and wellness brands, and organizations and nonprofits that have the same mission that we do. Our revenue streams would be grants and local government funding, because we know we are offering a social value. Also membership options, because people who really love us will come all the time. And event partnerships with those key partners would also be one of our streams of revenue.
With our competitors, Outdoor Afro provides wellness, nature wellness activities for Black communities. However, their activities are very limited. With Randonautica, it does give you a wide variety of options of where you can go to explore nature. However, it does not guarantee your safety. And with the Nature Bus, it is a mobile service. However, their locations are very limited. However, with Adventure Pods, we do all of that. We have unlimited activities we have many locations, and we make sure that your safety is our first priority.
So the way we will be prototyping this event is through pop-up events. We will put this pod in local parks, community centers to simulate the Adventure Pod experience. We will feature basic wellness workshops and creativity classes to gauge what people really want to see. We will also have appies during events. They'll be able to test out all the features that they like during the event. And we will also gather feedback and data through that so we can really see if this is something people truly love. Will you be a part of closing the gap? Thank you.
So great job. Again, these are great ideas, especially given the fact it's been 24 hours since you started. Just a question for you. Have you given any thought to, would you prioritize maybe one age group demographic first, or are you thinking about trying to create experiences across, whatever age groups you're thinking about? I started thinking about field trips. They used to jam us on the bus and take us out to where there's green things to look at. So I just wasn't sure if that was part of your thought process on target.
Yes, so we will have workshops and classes for everyone, but we do recognize in low-income communities and in low-income families, parents have to work. So in these communities, you have to think the only people that will have a lot of free time to experience the health and wellness benefits of nature are probably a younger demographic, but we will have things for all age groups and all audiences. But the people that will probably be benefiting from this the most are the younger demographic in these communities.
Can you be a little bit more specific as to inside the Adventure Pod? Are they going to be different sizes, or are they going to? What exactly would be the main draw to? Let's say, like you mentioned, you grew up in Philadelphia and you didn't have places to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would have been a draw for you to go to one of these pods?
So the pods will be pretty big, like being able to fit like at least 15 to 20 people for like a workshop or something of that nature. And personally, I think what would draw me is the pod itself, like having a pod, like a clear pod, being able to go into and experiencing nature while not actually having to like go into it would be like very important. I'm also someone who suffers with allergies and asthma, as is Kaya. And so I feel like this would be very like, I can learn about conservation, I can learn how to pot plants, I can experience nature photography without actually being in it. So I think this would pull me a lot just because of, I think, how innovative this space would be in terms of like what we're providing for them.
Good, okay.
Thank you.
Great job.
Click on the red icon at the bottom right.
Good one, what?
The red icon. Next to the PowerPoint.
Yeah,
No,
it's
to
a
the right.
PDF, so
To the
it's
right.
gonna be like a document instead of a.
To the right.
next up is Mia.
Hi, I'm Mia Bonpensa. I'm a freshman. I'm studying media communications and theater. And this is Words of the World, Exploration Through Imagination. So when I think back to my childhood, I think of all the memories that I had on the playground with my friends, going outside, making memories. I published 2 books, self-published, and I credit a lot of my creativity to going outside and making up all these stories with my friends. And I encourage you to think back to your childhood and all the memories that you've had going outside. And this is something that we are severely lacking nowadays. And most children spend about 7 minutes a day outside, which is a 50% decline in the past 20 years, which is a lot. And going outside has a lot of benefits to children. It can reduce anxiety, depression, stress. It can help with self-esteem, dedication, or the risk detection and creativity. So my idea is to create a children's book series called Words of the World, Exploration Through Imagination. And it will encourage going to the outdoors through the color, the story, and connections to real life. And the settings will be very diverse. It will have a bunch of different stories. Each story could be about family, about friends. That will be the underlying theme. However, what umbrella and encompasses all of these stories will be the setting, and that will encourage adventure into the outdoors to all of these children. And the target audience will be parents and educators for elementary school students. And I'll talk about a little bit more during my business model. So why children's books? Why would this be effective? Well, children's books stimulates children's power of observation, reason, memory, imagination, and problem-solving skills. And there's so many benefits that come from internalizing the morals of children's books. And I know firsthand from the books that I've published that children really do connect to these books, and they find a sense of purpose and a sense of, I've found from the morals that I've put in my books, they've grown confidence. So I know firsthand that these books do work, and it does encourage children to, grow as people. And it's very important for for children to learn these skills as they grow into adults as well. So I have written a book. This could be an example of something that could be a part of the series. It's about friendship, but it's also about going out and being with your friends in the outdoors. This one takes place at the beach, but a book could take place somewhere else. It could take place in the wilderness. It could take place somewhere in a different country. However, there's an underlying theme in all of them, but it will always tie back to the great outdoors and nature. And these are my original illustrations that I have for this book. I have not published this yet. So competition. There's a lot of books out there that have to do with the environment, such as the Lorax, We Walk Through the Forest, or Nature Journal, but these are all individual books, and I want this to be a series because there are so many different places and so many different ways that children can get involved with the environment. And I think that they can be shown through a bunch of different books, not just one. So it's an umbrella of nature, but there are also underlying themes. And so my business model would be to self-publish this, and this is a lot of individual marketing, so social media marketing, starting up events, book signings, and the main point will be making partnerships with schools and having school readings, because I really think that teachers will appreciate the messages that this will have, encouraging health and wellness and going into the environment with students, physical education. So I think really making a partnership with the schools will help in promoting the book and also get it out there in the message to the children. So next steps will be to develop the books to expand the network. There's a lot of different schools in a pretty big country, so getting reading ambassadors to go to different schools around the country could be a way to kind of spread around this idea. So let's explore through imagination and let's get kids back outside.
Did you explore anything on the cost line?
I did. So yes. So I have done self-publishing in the past. So the baseline is about $1,100 to just get it self-published. And then for each book you purchase, it'll be about $7. So what I've done in the past is I have sold them for about $20 to get about a $13 profit, which you won't profit until you make what was originally. So it would take about 84 book sales to start making profit. But if you're selling them in bulk to students and to schools, it won't take that long of a time to get 84 books out there.
question for you. Really good job on that illustration. But,
Thank you.
question, it looked like in a couple of books, I don't know, especially maybe the beach one that you were showing, were you also tying in activities into the story, meaning I'm reading and I'm doing stuff, or?
That could be a potential. The way that the book was, it talks about a lot of activities that you could do at the beach. The overarching theme is it's friendship and things that you've done in your childhood at the beach, and kind of tying that to growing up and growing down different paths, but also still staying connected by the things that you do outdoors. That is a great idea. You could potentially give ideas for what kids could do outdoors, but that wasn't specifically in mind.
Thank you.
I think you've done an excellent job at looking and addressing a problem that's real. Yes, like my life, I have, my still considered young, but he's a sophomore in college, but I have a 13-year-old son, and just to get him off the iPad and go outside and have a catch, like I dreamed when I was a little kid to have a catch from my dad, never, I was at a different time, now I can't get my kid to go outside and have a catch. So it's not a really question for me, it's just, he's saying that I think it's an excellent idea.
Thank you.
I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
That would be too easy.
Stand back from it. If we get too close, it'll get quieter.
Avalanche airbags. I am Donato Sabalino. I am a senior, class of 2025, and I'm a biology major.
I'm Andrew Phillips. I'm a senior, class of 2025, also a biology major. So like the initial thought process behind this is Don and I are going out to Wyoming this time, this winter. And my mom wanted a product to keep me safe because those are a bit bigger mountains and like it's a bit scarier out there. There's avalanches. And what we found was this thing called the avalanche backpack, but it was incredibly pricey. We couldn't really afford to get it. And my mom was like, I really want you to be safe, but unfortunately we can't do this. And that's been weighing heavy on her mind. So we wanted to sort of innovate and try and find a product that takes all the amenities of the avalanche backpack, removes them, and just includes the safety features.
So as Andy already said, we just want to have the safety features and just get rid of all the amenities and have it be able to attach to any backpack rather than being woven in, whereas in the expensive ones, it's woven into the big backpack itself. So you can't get it separately. And that's the whole point, is we're separating that to allow safety for all rather than just a really expensive bag. So for the prototype, I drew this up quickly. I looked at like anchor points on backpacks. You can see where the orange dotted, that's where the device would anchor, where the avalanche parachute airbag. And this is how it would look activated, all blown up, it would go around. It follows this method called the Brazilian nut method, which is like less dense. Brazilian nuts would float to the top while they were being rotated, vibrated cream or something. I forget what it's called, but it's scientifically proven that you'll stay on top during an avalanche if you have that on.
And the way we want to innovate is we have a bit of a unique design. I'll go into how we lower production costs in the next slide, but our product is relatively easy to use. It can attach to any sort of backpack. And this also opens up our market to not be relegated to just skiing or snowboarding. Surfers can use it because the Brazilian nut method is also applicable to water. Hikers can use it. It can be just like an everyday sort of, I'm in a quick landslide situation, pull my cord, and now I'm at the top. Here's how we sort of reduce the production. We use the CO2 inflation mechanism, which is relatively quick. If you've ever used a BB gun or any sort of airsoft gun, it's that sort of principle that'll puncture the CO2 inflate the airbag, providing you the less dense thing. Another way we do it is I looked into the materials costs that sort of go into making these airbags. There are two different types of nylon. They're both very similar in terms of strength, durability, and what they're used for. The main one they use is nylon 420D, which is this black one, which is about $13 per yard. There's a similar nylon, it's just slightly easier to manufacture, but you don't mitigate any of the safety functions and any of like the features of the actual material. And it's a lot cheaper. It's about $4.95, which is a quarter of the price for essentially the same safety features. I mean, that was really important for us was cutting production, but not mitigating safety. We want you to be able to get a value safety item that doesn't diminish safety.
So for our business model, we want to be able to kind of undercut the market since they're already priced above 700. We want to, as in doing so, we want to give a cheaper and safer option within like extreme climates and extreme sports. And we want to be able to release our product design to bigger manufacturing companies because we can't really do it ourselves unless we are given the funds, obviously. And to keep customer like income, we would have CO2 cartridges that are, produced by us and bought from us alone, only works with Device, just like Apple. So it doesn't like lower after a one-time purchase, and then everyone has one out.
And like the big thing about this product is for us, it was providing something that can give you safety, but is still affordable. Because it should not cost you an arm and a leg to make sure that your child or yourself is safe. And I think that that's very important to a lot of people and it will strike the hearts of the market. And do you have any questions for us?
Can you explain the nut method again?
Yeah. I had a picture up on the slide, but I removed it just because it was blurry. Basically, so you know how the snow avalanche is coming down. It's like imagine a bunch of water, basically, like in a sense. And the life vest inflates like a life vest, and you would float on top. Physics explains it a lot better.
The basic principle is that something that is big and less dense will float when surrounded by heavy, denser objects. And in this case, the snow or the water, anything would be a denser object. You float it out, it's filled with air and gas, so it's relatively low density, high volume, and that sort of brings you up to the top.
I know it sounds reversed. Like you would have
No, it's
your
okay.
stones, water stones, it's not that.
But the other thing I was thinking was, you focused on the cost, which is good. This is an item that could be mass produced.
Yeah.
You mentioned the manufacturers.
Yeah.
That would certainly drive down costs.
Mhm.
So, that was one thing that I really liked.
Yeah, that was one of our biggest things is how do we make this more affordable but still retain all the safety aspects from the backpack design?
It would also be able to be repackaged too. Like the other designs, it's just the CO2 cartridge would have to be cheaper. Any other questions?
What would be your, maybe you've already answered this question, but I'll throw it out. What's your target market?
So the target market would primarily be like winter sports, just because that's where most, and hiking, but that's where most accidents regarding avalanches would happen. But it could be also marketed or differently designed to even just hiking and a mudslide happens, right? Or swimming and you need a life vest or your, I don't know.
One of the best things I think about this is it isn't limited to just an American market.
Yeah.
Skiing is very big in Europe, it's very big all over the world. Outdoorsy activities are very big, so you can really push this product worldwide if you wanted to.
It seems also too, like, first of all, getting covered in avalanche is like a top 3 most terrifying ways to die in my head. But thinking through this too, it's almost, potentially something rather than just all these sales-based, potentially like renting them through ski lodges, right? So if somebody comes in, I rent one for the day,
Yeah.
That's something where it's almost like a subscription basis where your margins are probably,
Yeah, that's
you can probably charge more, right? Because somebody's coming in that day, they see it, then they freak out.
Yeah.
About avalanches, so, that might be the way rather than, and then, participating in the revenue stream of the ski lodge or whatever, whoever's doing the rental.
Also on that, I know a lot of ski resorts and lodges do competition, so it would be nice to be like, hey, stock these up for your competitors so that you're promoting a safe sort of sporting event. Mhm.
All right, is that it? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Can you pull it like after you're fully covered? Or does that have to be like right? You can pull after you're fully covered, sort of. Because it's like a parachute ripcord. It's basically a parachute ripcord. So you just pull it and then the puncture seal through faster. I didn't even talk about that. That's what I meant to say in the prototype. That you're supposed to pull the cord. That sucks.
All right, hello everybody. I'm Chuck Schliemann. I'm a freshman here, and I'm pitching EcoNest. It's a sustainable modular camping device. Here's our logo there, and our slogan is "When sustainability finds a home." So my story and my background with camping: I grew up in New Jersey, and I spent a lot of time camping in the Pine Barrens by myself with my buddies. After graduation, we ended up going to New Hampshire, and I found a new passion for camping. But one of the biggest problems, whether I was by myself or with my best friend, was always setting up the tent. It was always a pain in the butt for us, and we just never liked to do it. So unsustainable and tricky to set up tents are unfortunately the only tents on the market, and that should be frustrating for environmentalists and campers like myself. I think that tents should respect the environment, be easy to set up, and be adjustable for different people. So our objective at EcoNest is to be sustainable and have modular setup, so it'd be easier to set up piece by piece, person to person, and we want it to be transportable, easy to transport, and we want it to respect the environment. So some of our key features our eco-friendly materials would include bamboo opposed to fiberglass poles and hemp and cellulose composite to replace some of the water-resistant chemicals that they use on the tents that aren't so eco-friendly. And it would consist of wool and cork insulation to keep you warm. And the idea would be to have a tool-free assembly with modular panels, and you can expand or reduce the tent based on your needs as a camper. So for competitive analysis, two of our biggest competitors would be REI and Coleman. You can see here the REI ones are a little bit more expensive and the Coleman ones are a little bit cheaper. We kind of want to be in that same realm, around $200, $250, because if you are in the market for a tent, you typically are willing to spend money to stay warm, stay dry. So that's the price range we'd be at. Here's what a prototype, a couple of prototypes would look like here. My assumptions for my solution would be, I assume that campers would be more excited about a sustainable way to camp. And I also assume that consumers in the tent market would be willing to pay for a cause such as mine. To launch in 4 steps, I would need material resources such as the ones I said, design modules and ventilation for the tent, and I would need to assemble a prototype and then just test the durability of it, see how comfortable it is, and launch the product. So for my launching plan, in order to fund my product reasonably, I want to do influencer-based marketing through YouTubers and campers and whatnot. And I also want to do something such as a trail showcase. Maybe I could pop up my tent, the Appalachia trails, for people to see the uniqueness of it. And after launching my product, I want to partner with a company who has real sustainable principles and values like Patagonia. And for our company, merging lanes with a big sustainable company is definitely a must. And for my final pitch, I just have to say it's important that we respect the land we use as campers. It's impossible to pitch a tent without struggle, but with EcoNest, our mission is to make camping more simple for you and the earth. And with EcoNest, not only are you investing in the environment, but you're also investing in yourself by saving yourself the hassle of pitching a traditional tent. Let's make the camping scene as it should be. sustainable. Thank you.
Good job. I think, I was trying to think when I was looking at the prototypes, have you even thought about how would you like package that into something that can be pumped in it?
I really haven't yet, but the goal is for it to be transportable, so you could take it hiking on the trail like Appalachia and pop up your tent wherever you'd like. All good?
I did, initially said, because I'm not one to be able to put tent together myself with difficulty, and there's definitely an issue. What would make your tent easier to assemble than others?
Right, so with my tent prototype, you typically with like a tent, you open up the packaging and you get a full thing of directions, put this in this socket, across this pole with this pole. And the idea would be, it would be way more minimalistic. So in terms of like, if it was just one person, it would be a nice, like simple setup. Like you just have, like 2 pillars and then a cover over it. So that way it's sustainable, using the right products and easy to set up. Yeah, of course. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Charles DeChico. I am a statistics major.
I'm John Clarion, and I'm a computer science major.
Our product is a mobile app called Pickup, and it is designed for people like me who enjoy sports, who love being outdoors, but struggle to find people to play sports with and be outdoors with, and often find themselves in their free time being lonely and bored. And these feelings of loneliness and boredom resonate with a lot of young Americans. And we can see this through the surveys that are conducted because they have been deprived of the opportunity to reach out and find people who share similar interests because we live in a very socially awkward, socially isolated time where people aren't willing to branch out their comfort zones to find people with similar interests. And this leads to people being less active when they have less social bonding, and this harms a person's emotional and physical health. And so our product addresses this problem because we create an online local community that groups people based off their shared similar interest in sports and outdoor activities. And there they will be able to communicate with one another if they wanted to play a certain sport or activity on a certain day. And this way, it avoids some of the complications of people interacting in person that we find with young adults. And that also you have a large network of people, so you can have new relationships, meet various people, which is proven by research to increase happiness.
So unlike other platforms like wild apps like Hug, Adventure, All Trails, iNaturalist, and other social media platforms focus on more individual experience and niche outdoor activities, Pickup will bring people together through spontaneous local outdoor activities because it combines social bonding and fitness, creating a true community hub. What sets Pickup apart is our focus on initiatives and accessibility. Users can join activities tailored to their fitness levels and interest with real-time updates and group features that foster real-life connections where they can connect to other people, network, especially young adults coming out of college. If they move to other place, usually they lose that network. So this will be an easy way for them to build up their network and get to know new people. And Pickup also stands out by it will offer resources and partnerships with other companies to make activities accessible to all social and economic backgrounds. So to fund our growth, we will leverage ads, early investors, and partnership with wellness brands. Our focus on social media and community building, we think will bring a very loyal customer base to us. With these unique elements that we mentioned before, pick up, redefine social fitness by turning outdoor activities into meaningful and accessible connections with other people, no matter their background. And our startup cost, we estimate it to be around $50,000 with app development and marketing. So as you can see over here, this is our prototype. We are thinking of having a very reliable cloud company that will host the app and its all features without any glitches. And we are thinking of it being user-friendly, where like no matter your technological background, you'll be able to use it. As you can see, the features here very easily outlined. There you can see more of the features. And thank you. We hope you connect, move, thrive, and thrive. Also, please check out our website for more information where we have about our app.
Good. Yeah. So I was going to ask, as far as like your revenue model, so you're going through the commercials, is this something where you would sell data of people using the app in order to get revenue from advertisers, or would you charge a subscription fee or some sort of success matching, fee when somebody did find an activity? I wasn't sure how you were thinking through that.
So for the beginning, what we're going to do is the app is going to be free, where companies will be able to advertise their products or their websites and whatever. And what we're thinking is the other source of income that we were thinking was when we grow our name and the brand is through partnerships with local municipalities, where like if, let's say a township wants to host an event and they want to bring in like more tourism and revenue for the township, they can like post ads and like put like different activities that are going to be in the township. So yeah, it's going to be investors, it's going to be ads in the beginning. But later on, we are planning on expanding our revenue streams, and we will look into, maybe selling the advertisement data to companies.
So $50,000, that's a pretty substantial initial buy-in. What sort of ROI or return on your investment in terms of time frame,
So what we have planned is we already know for like the first 2 years, we're not going to take on any salaries or anything. So we know we're not going to go for profit for the first 2 years. It's just to build up the name and to have our name out in the market. And for the startup funds, we are planning on pitching it to investors, but also using some of our own money and through our network that we have.
Yeah, he actually.
Sorry.
It's a. Yeah, so your initial, I think you said your initial focus would be between the ages of, what was it, 18 and
34.
34. I think maybe would consider expanding that age up into retirement age.
Yeah, I think it's relevant to
Because
all.
why people that collect, older people that like to play tennis or that kind of stuff. And,
Yeah.
they're retired and they're looking for somebody to play tennis.
pickleball?
That's
Pickleball. Yeah, that's the new thing, right?
Thank you.
Are we ready? So, my name is Dean Davis. I'm a sophomore, triple major in finance, math, and Spanish. So my idea was Compost Solutions. It's about biodegradable waste solutions. And so how that kind of came about is whenever I thought about outdoors, I thought about how hot it's been recently, and then how that's a trend that's been affecting us for quite some time now with global warming. And one way that we can get rid of the global warming is to bring the CO2 molecules out of the air and sequester them in the ground using trees. So a lot of people already know this. This is common knowledge. This has been like a billion-dollar question in history thus far. But how we've been going at it is a little bit inefficient. We've been having these plantathons in Philly, plantathons in New York, even plantathons in Saudi Arabia, where we see these trees just dying, even only 3 months after they've been planted. And actually, what we've now recently found out is that these dying, stressed trees are actually releasing chemicals into the air that are exacerbating the problem that we are trying to fix. So these are actively making our air quality worse. So then I was thinking, I said, okay, what can I do for 2 minutes out of my day to help a tree grow? And I came up with, obviously, compost. So a little bit more about what I was just talking about. And through composting, you're also limiting your energy waste. So currently at Ursinus, what we're doing with our leftover excess food that we're not eating is going into an incinerator. Extremely energy inefficient because it's hard to break through those water molecules. And food disposal will give back to the community in the ways that I'm going to mention, and also limit our energy costs towards food disposal. So a little bit of my business model is going to be placing bins in our Ursinus campus. So obviously I go here, so I know exactly where these bins are going to be placed. We have Be Naturals, where they're cutting, I almost want to say hundreds of bananas and strawberries a day to make these yogurt bowls or acai bowls and things of that nature. Wiz, where they're cracking eggs all day. And even the Starbucks over there, if you've got the Collins, I think it was built in 2021, 2020. Coffee grounds are easily biodegradable. We can put those in the ground with our compost. So with the business model, we will be installing these bins. So it's a little bit of a low fixed cost for us. These bins run about $15 at any kind of store. They will be airtight, sealable, and kind of lockable. And you've seen these bins, the ones that have the clamps and sides. Very, efficient, low fixed cost. And we will also be handling the disposal, not similar to a trash can. Not unsimilar to a trash can. So it would be a trash can just like that. Barrel your compost in, and we will handle that. And then we also handle the transportation of the compost to the composting site. So the main thing with compost is you have to have kind of a leafy pile and somewhere for that compost to sit for a while as it breaks down and turns into fertilizer. That can be done at the UC farm. We partner with the farm where they have this compost space readily available to us. So a little bit about what makes my idea so special and so attractive is that this is impactful and actionable tomorrow. So I know the people that work in waste, almost everybody does. Mr. Mike, and I know people who work in Be Naturals, it's Miss Tanya. So I go and I speak to them every day and tell them how you doing, and I could put a bin in there by Monday. I could go to the store, pick up this bin for $15 and have it there by Monday and carry out this plan and getting real data. So, and also Ursinus has a huge commitment towards experimental learning. It's really XLP. It's a requirement for everyone at the school. And through the XLP program, I can partner with other students such as myself to have a real hand in a business, to feel what it feels like to have a problem go wrong and have to fix that, to see what it feels like to have, somebody didn't clean the bin, so I have to go clean the bin, and just get that real business experience. So with that, I'm asking for your help for the initial funding for the bins to help make our science a more sustainable university or college while solving a global problem, to help create more fertile land and healthy trees, and help create opportunities for students. That's all. Thank you.
Well, why are the trees dying after 3 months?
Improper care. We're looking at water and also fertilizer. That's a really main reason. So really, it would just take the fertilizer from the UC farm. Our trees here get good water and get good care, but the fertilizer would be needed elsewhere where we're having these trees planted.
So you mentioned that you could have bins like Anchor. If I'm a student here and I got something to eat and I on the way, would it be specific? What I put in that bin would be labeled, or would it be?
Yes, it would be labeled. Usually, we try to stay away from meat because then it gets captured by those possums, things of that nature. But whenever I think of compost, I think of vegetables, fruits, working banana peels, eggshells, coffee grounds, obviously, after mentioned. But kind of leafier things, fruity things, kind of that sort. So, and then we've also found that there's a positive correlation, about 6.3% in the studies that I've seen of a relationship between sustainability impacts or sustainability programs at a university and admissions rate. So we're talking not just people are going to see this sustainability and good for ESG scores. We're seeing people are going to see this sustainability and want to come here even more. So it's a little bit of added value.
So it seems like one revenue stream is people buying bins, right? And then I imagine there's, whoever's going to have a vested interest in the trees, right, would potentially also be a client or a revenue opportunity in order to help them from, replacing trees over and over. So I didn't know if you thought around, is that typically governments or I wasn't sure who you were thinking ultimately gets the benefit of the trees surviving and if there's a commercial model there.
So one thing that I was really trying to focus on with the XRP and having our science as kind of my first place to go was keeping this all local. So I have a little graph of how my revenue expenditures would lay out. But yeah, I'll keep it all local. So like as you see, we walk down Main Street, you see the bakery, and you see trees kind of lining the area. Also the DNCR, our conservancy, we have a state park about 7 miles away. Like so, there are a lot of local places that we could give this fertilizer to help these trees grow. A little bit of data. So. Yeah.
You didn't show these initially.
Oh, no, sure. This is just the appendix. So if you were asking questions, this was just positive, was the correlation values, that's all.
Because this is powerful. I would move that earlier in the presentation.
Yes, sir. It's just, I know I only have 4 minutes, but I know whenever I'm trying to analyze a business, I know things like PD, price of book, this, and that's, so I just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Any more questions? Sounds good. Thank you.
Go to the top one.
Hello everyone, I'm Zach Lewis. I'm a freshman and my major, I'm an economics and pre-law major. So I have a question for you guys. Have you guys ever gone fishing? What's your biggest catch? Tell me, what's your biggest one?
I actually caught probably that 40-pound tuna once.
Okay. Were you able to like measure it or?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But you know when you're not able to measure a fish, going out fishing, you don't know how to measure. Look up all these people. None of those people were able to measure the catch. They all just were there. They couldn't tell their friends how much it weighed. They couldn't tell their friends how long it was. That's why we have Scaly. Scaly is the world's first tackle box with a built-in measuring tape and scale. So I'm a fishing guide in Florida, actually. I do peacock bass fishing guides. And I've had multiple times on my trips where people want fishing out for their wall. And what happens is they're like, oh, do you have a measuring tape? Every time, I don't have one. And so we end up taking a piece of line, or as you see in this photo, the fishing rod to measure the fish. That never actually does well. It's always inaccurate. So that's one problem. And then also, if you want to talk about your cast later on with your friends, family, anyone else, you can't accurately. You can't say my dad always likes to say his fish was 6 pounds, I know it was 4. He always likes to say 40 inches, I know it was 30. But so this way we have accurate numbers. And then also, in terms of keeping fish, it helps the legality side of it. If the state, like for example in Florida, you can't keep a snook below 28 inches in season. And if you have a built-in measuring tape to your tackle box, you'll be able to measure that fish. And the other thing is there's no other tackle box that has these features built in, but there is another tackle box which has like a little like drawing of a tape measure on it, but it's only as big as a tackle box. So if you catch a big enough fish, you're not going to be able to show it. So here's a little replica of Scaly. The top portion here, you see there's a zipper that opens on the top. And what that zipper is, it just opens to the scale. That scale is a digital, think of a digital food scale, and it's charged by USB-C. And on the side, you can see this thing right there. It's just a little hook. Think of like a walkie-talkie hook there. You can put your pliers. Something else I like to say is you could put like a container for disposing excess fishing line and stuff. And then also, so on the bottom here would be measuring tape. And what that does is a little button which retracts it in and out, or retracts it in. So you just pull it out when you want it to go back in, you press the button and it goes back in. The outside of the tackle box is made with a waterproof Gore-Tex material as well. I wanted it to be like durable, yet sustainable, and for you to use a long time. The product is gonna cost at retail stores about $80. Cost of production is about $40. The way I came to that was a typical tackle box. I mean, they range anywhere from 10 to 300, honestly, but the typical size of one I want, of the top 3 ones sold at Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, all those, is around 60. And with the added scale and measuring tape, maybe $20, that's where the $80 came from. And usually, usually I would resell my products for 50% more than what the cost to make it is, and that's how I figured out how much their probable cost to make is for that. Also, on every part of the tackle box, I will have patents on every part. The shape of it, the features such as the measuring tape, the scale, digital part, everything will be patented. So when I get into production and sales, I can end up selling those patents to larger companies such as Mustad, such as Bass Pro Shops, who make these, products at larger scale. Obviously, the product will be sold to people in the fishing community. It'll be sold to tackle shops across the country, Bass Pro Shops, Walmart, Cabela's, Dick's Sporting Goods, and many other retail stores. And I'll also have online sales at Scaly, www.scaly.com, Instagram, TikTok, and other online stores. My first vision for going out and doing it is like, for me, near me, there's a lot of tackle stores nearby, so it's to literally walk into those tackle stores and see if they're interested in that product. And that's how I kind of get started. And from there, once we're local, small, people are like me, we have an established name. I can reach out to larger companies such as Bass Pro Shops, Walmart, Cabela's, as I said. To me, I think these people would be very interested in it because, it's a product that's available nowhere else. There's no tackle box with built-in scale with a measuring tape. My business model, obviously, I have to design and create a prototype. I want to put Scaly on Kickstarter. I find Kickstarter is a great way to get your product out there. Early gauge interest from my fishing clients when I take people fishing, ask people if they buy it. People fishing out go to the pier anywhere, gauge interest, and then assess interest with local tackle shop owners. From there, I implement SEO, social media marketing, paid advertising, and eventually sell to stores across the country. With Scaly, you can measure, weigh, and conquer every catch. Are you ready to reel in the future? Questions?
Did you do any analysis on the weight of the scale?
No, so I mean, when I was thinking of the scale, I was thinking like a food scale, so like a digital food scale probably. Nothing about the actual weight, but usually those scales are about no more than 3 pounds, I'd say. So they're just like that thick, about that wide, and that's, as we see in the image here, the scale would kind of cover almost the whole top, the whole top area of it, but it wouldn't completely, it'll be in the actual box, but built in. And then also looking at it, was that zipper on the bottom, like that's where you would access your tackle boxes and stuff. So I wanted to be able to fit, around 3 to 4 like plastic actual boxes.
Could you go to the next slide? Next one. That one. So where on this would you put you had mentioned a patent.
Mm-hmm.
So when would you get that patent?
I think for me, the patent would be like as soon as possible. That's the thing. And then once I have that patent, once I'm selling stores, I want to become large enough before I sell those patents, to select whatever it is. So I want to get to a point where it's like, Bass Pro Shops already knows my name. Or they might not already know my name, but it's something they had heard of. Or, maybe I approach them earlier on and I tell them about the product and I gauge their interest then. I gauge how much, they would pay for the patent, what they think it's worth. It's a good offer. Wait for a longer time.
Yeah, I was almost thinking like kind of how do you make yourself valuable at a good point of sale, as far as being on, docks, and potentially, randomly showing up at tournaments and things like that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have their own.
I mean, my other thing is, so I know my dad actually doesn't do the same where he used to help sell boat cleaning products. And so I know he would literally just drive around to different places, stores nearby and sell the product there. It was for this larger company called Salt and Captain. And so that's, the first way I thought of getting it out there, because it's such a direct way. So yeah.
Okay, and I think we are heading into our last presentation.
Hello, my name is Gavin Whittam. I'm a sophomore here at Christian's College. I study with economics and Spanish. And today, we're here to talk about the sweat guard. All right, so I'm driving to my girlfriend's house in my car, black leather interior, hot summer day, and I have hyperhidrosis, just like 10 million other Americans. And I'm sweating. I come in for the date, I'm drenched. I feel so embarrassed. And from this day, spawned my hatred for sweat. All right, so here's the solution. Undershirts in general. They've been largely unmodified since the turn of the century. That is, the 20th century. And so we want to create a lightweight substitute for undershirt. All right, so here's a prototype. We want to sell to both men and women. We want to sell tank tops and t-shirts. So some of the functionality of the prototype is that they're going to be made of modal fabric, and they're going to use microfibers, which is silver. And these are used to absorb more sweat. And they actually use less water in production, better for the environment. And based on prices at Soma and Norwex, which is the microfiber towels, we can sell this for around $30. So this is a very vast product, and I think it has a lot of different uses. So the target audience can be very wide. So we can start it at our sinus, and that's That's a very good thing to me because all it takes for me is to get some clothing from Soma in Norwex and cut it up, sew it together, test it, and use it on my friends. My friends are athletes here. And see if it really works. And we can sell it at things like Bear Bazaar here. So Gymshark and Celsius have very interesting sales approaches, which I really love. So Celsius, what they did is they get their product in the hands of their consumers, and they use conversion rate to turn those free giveaways into customers. And Gymshark, they pay people, advertisers, influencers to use the product, create an image. And then, so for competition's sake, this is a quality product. So in economics, we have inferior goods. And I believe cotton undershirts are an inferior good. The more money you make, you should spend less on cotton undershirts. I think that this is different from our competitors like Soma though, because they only market to women. It's only from menopausal women's clothes. And so we offer this to men and women. We want to use it in a workplace setting, a gym setting, and we can also offer it to hyperhidrosis patients because this is something that would really help them. That's a market I already have lined up. So future outlook, see, dermatologists recommended. So dermatologists are who both diagnose and prescribe medicine to people with hyperhidrosis. So if we advertise like a dermatologist convention, they're going to have patients lined up. There's a market there. And Lululemon, when they started back in 1998 in Vancouver, Canada, they only offered one item, women's stretch pants. But now they offer suits, menswear, a whole lot of things. So we can definitely take that route if the company takes off. Thank you.
I was going to ask from a manufacturing perspective, right? So obviously source that material that you're talking about, I forget what it's called. But as far as getting manufacturing into the garments, walk me through where you're thinking about doing that.
All right, so I think a lot of that is broken down to scale. So to start out, to make a prototype, I have to do it myself. And if I find that it's really a really good working thing, then we can try to outsource. I mean, my aunt, she's made clothes for years in China. She's employed sweatshops to make clothes for her. So you can outsource a lot of this to China, and that's what a lot of other brands do.
What would you do to ensure if this took off that somebody doesn't knock you off? Seems like it would be pretty simple to do.
I don't know. I think the biggest thing for us probably could be branding. Because, I mean, look, how many Lululemon knockoffs are there? Lululemon still makes money because of their brand, who they employ, where they advertise. They still make money. I think we have to do very strategic marketing. And that's clothes in general. I mean, why are certain clothing brands still popular? Because where they put themselves.
So that last slide you had mentioned garments like under the belt, pants. So if it took off, is that what you're saying? If it took off, then you could do more than just shirts.
Yes, exactly. Because so what Soma does is they have like full body things with their lines. So there is a market for making it into more than just shirts. And even if you want to get like higher material clothes, they're not branded as undershirts. So I don't think a lot of people think to use them like that. So even if we just brand it as an undershirt, it might be a little bit of an interesting concept to people.
Yeah, I can really see that taking off. I mean, if the marketing was done correctly, you see all the commercials nowadays for the deodorants now. They're all over the place for just your armpits and everywhere else. And so, this is definitely a niche.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, well, that wraps up all of our student presentations. I'd like you to give yourselves all a round of applause. You all did a great job, considering this is, for most of you, your first go at it. And literally in, a few hours putting together some innovative ideas with some credible research to back it up, and some thought about how you would actually execute on it. So great job. We're going to ask you to sit tight for maybe 15 minutes or so while the judges deliberate. There are cookies and drinks out in the hallway, so feel free to grab some cookies and dessert from Collegeville Bakery. Is it? Yeah. So butter cookies from Collegeville Bakery while the judges deliberate, and then I'll come and get you, and we'll present the awards for this afternoon.
Everybody get your odds. That's actually crazy. It's like,
See where these guys want to do it. If they want to stay in here, I think so.
We need to grab, are we doing?
Yeah, check. So you need first, second, and third, three checks. So welcome to UC Imagine Fest. This is what we do. Yeah.
They did well.
Yeah, they did pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Consider it.
What's the process of that? We just talk about each one?
Yeah, we'll
Say
just,
which one.
yeah, so, usually three things, okay? How well did they present orally? Did their ideas make sense? And, did they have, was their logic following through everything? So, yeah.
It'd be great to give them some, just some tips on public speaking.
Yeah.
Because it does so much for the presentation, instead of speeding through like super fast. Slow
Take
it,
some deep breaths.
slow it down, and not reading like
the
slides. So some of them had just bullet points and they talked about each bullet point, which was great, while others would actually read the sentence that was on there. I'm like, I can read that, But I mean, they're kids and it's the first thing.
Yeah. No, but that's exactly what we do, John. We try and get them to look at the audience, know enough about what they're saying, that their slides are cues, but they're not reading from it. And you saw varying degrees of, confidence in speaking.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is, we have varying degrees of years here. So a lot of students were just first-year students. This is literally the first time they're ever presenting in a public forum in front of, people that matter. It's one thing to present up in class, but it's a whole other level of presentation when you are presenting in front of, outside people that are in the working world. So.
Yeah, you could see the eye contact from some,
And you can see the difference between majors too, some, and I don't want to generalize, but, some of the majors, sciences tend to be a little bit less outgoing. Computer science is another one where, I have a friend who's a computer science professor, and he's like, Maureen, I cannot get it. They want to build stuff and they want to create stuff, but I can't get them to speak about it. It's kind of crazy. So, all right, I'm going to let you. So basically, we're giving away first, second, and third. First prize is $750. Second prize is $500, and third is what? $250. So $750, $500, and $250.
Yeah, because there was a lot of presentations. They're like
A list.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, I have the sheets right here, I was just grabbing.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys deliberate, because I like to step back, because they think biased, so I usually like to be outside with them. But Don can answer any questions that you have, and if you need me, he'll come out and get me. And
I've attended 3 of these now. Maureen puts her finger on the scale every single time. She's gonna bully it.
So idea, follow, the thought process through their presentation.
Idea, thought process.
Yeah, does it make sense? Was it well thought out?
Presentation.
The level of thinking that went into it, I guess, is another way of looking at the criteria.
Must.
Thank you. I had the last 2 as my highest.
Okay.
Scaly and Sweatguard. But the compost one, I really like that, especially that last graph that he showed.
Right. Thought about components of cost and everything.
It was all in there.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad you brought that up. I like them all. I think the one with the compost, the only thing I didn't get was, which we're not evaluating like how profitable that kind of thing is gonna be.
Yeah.
But, as far as presentation, knowledge. Right, and he hit everything. He had my highest score.
Okay.
By far.
Okay.
So,
So you want
that's my.
Was that one of yours? I forget the names. So the
Yeah,
compost, was he in the last couple? Or was
Yeah,
that-
he was the third to last, I think.
I think my action just put the top 3.
Compost
My goal was
solutions.
we need pull our top 3 and
Yeah.
argument for each one. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Since you mentioned compost right away, it's like,
I just-
both impressed.
Yeah.
good eye contact.
He was probably the best presenter.
Yeah,
You
if I
know,
was,
it was
I was
stuff.
somebody to hire to say.
He was selling us too.
Yeah.
You know, and, which I like. Yeah, so you want to put him, obviously, he's in top 3 then?
Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was pulling him first. That would be one of them.
Would you guys think pick up? That was the one that like, got people together. I had them in my top 3.
I had them slightly outside of it, but I did, I really did like the concept. And why I like it is because it could be, like I had mentioned, it could be, like a certain age group. And I was like, well, this could be for me, like if I want to go out and play some basketball right now. Right. But,
The only thing that I gave, well, one didn't, you had an 11 on them?
Yes.
So did I.
Okay.
What'd you have?
I had a 12.
A 12. The only knock on them is that there is something already out there. I can't think of what it's called. But
Well, there's a million apps, but it's like, I guess for, it's pickup and what it is for, like, you know, the name might not be the greatest, because you think of dating service. or like,
I didn't think of that.
So,
That's
there are
awesome.
some, yeah, or, yeah, it's, but I thought like, my mom is in her 80s now, and maybe she wants to play cards with somebody. You know, she could go on if the app is simple enough. She can find it. So it's just trying to.
So let's pull them
Yeah,
out.
I love the concept of that.
What else did you guys have ranked high?
I had Words of the World, and that was an earlier one. But I really love the idea of, because this is personal for me, like my kids, like, one of my biggest pet peeves with technology today is driving everybody away from each other. It's not bringing them, like when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to go out and play stickball or basketball. And you wouldn't see me like from the crack of dawn.
Be home for dinner.
Yeah, that's it. My parents, and they didn't know where I was, but they knew I was out running around doing something. Now I just like, it seems like they give my kids an iPad, an iPhone. They don't do anything. You know, like my younger one, just my older one discovered gymnastics, and he loves that, but he's still addicted to that. I'm addicted to that. Like when I'm on this, I should be out playing basketball. So
I like that because it seemed really doable, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, she's self-published, right?
And
So
she
it wasn't
already
just
started
like-
the
Yeah,
process.
like she's been through it a couple times, and you know.
See, I went the other way because both my sisters actually published two children's books. So I saw the whole process and the cost of going through all that. And she didn't mention anything on the cost until I asked her. You know, so it's not as easy as she made it out to be. You know, and so I actually saw that from the very start to the end. And they didn't, quite frankly, they didn't make anything on it. They just, you know, it was really, really hard to do.
from a financial sense,
Yeah.
probably not the greatest idea to do, but from a practical standpoint of trying to have your kids engage in things together and outside, I love the idea. So it's, how do you turn that into a business? And, because you have to, like the content, like has to drive people to want to read these books and these kids, you know, they enjoy them. So,
What'd you think?
Harry
What did you think of Sweatcon?
I like that too. I thought he was good with the PowerPoint, he was very fluid, I know it's an issue, so everybody comment, hey, that's what, that's so cool. You know, so, but, like I questioned the, how are you gonna pack that, make sure when the big guys come out? And you see, well, it'll be the name and everything, but if the big guys already have the name, and I use the same digits, and they're like, what's his name, says, I'll squash you like a cockroach. That's what's gonna happen with that, you know? So, it's as a business concept, it's gonna be very difficult to see that it's successful, because it's just so competitive.
It was the, like the materials already out there, right? It's like that, we have, like those discount materials that, so I was trying to think of what's even patentable, right? It's a good idea, you know, obviously the problem's out there, I just wasn't sure, like, you know, and maybe it's something like you could do them in a style, like, people would be like, oh, that's cool, and like, you know, Walmart wouldn't just come in and eat your lunch, right? 'Cause it's like, you know, so, yeah. So definitely seeing it come stuff there, right?
And I'm okay with pickup too.
Pickup? Okay, so.
Well, no, you did.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if you guys did or not.
No, I really like the idea, and it's refining, but that's definitely, okay, so, let me take the other ones.
What about scaling?
I don't know enough about fishing.
See, fishing is one of my hobbies, so.
Yeah, so I'm leaning on you for that.
I mean, it was simple, it was executed, you know, everybody that's in that community can use it, and nobody has it.
Okay, so it does create a solution for a problem like that.
No.
For a problem that people have.
I've only seen those like 1970s, like you hook the fish through the gill and hold it up.
Right.
And you gotta carry that around, you know, with you. So having it be part of the box is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think that's, I think throw that out there for now.
Those are my,
I think we agree that we have those three. Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, I couldn't remember the very first one.